So, hello everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Diplomacy Talk with Samin. Today we have with us our guest, Mr. Syed Akib Hossain, who is the former president of International Association of Business Communicators of BRAC University. Hello, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Samin, and thank you for inviting me as a guest of your third episode of your show.
So, it's an honor for me to have you with us. But, sir, firstly, can you please give an introduction about yourself for the viewers?
Sure. So my name is Syed Akib Hossain. I'm currently doing my master's at North South University with a major in biotechnology. And also I'm currently working as one of the research interns at the Laboratory of Gut-Brain Signaling at ICTDRB. It's an international healthcare organization working in Bangladesh. And as Samin said, I was also a former president of IUBC BRAC University and dealt with the Model UN activities in BRAC University and organized one of the residential Model UN conferences in Bangladesh. And I was actively participating in Model UN conferences from beginning of 2014 and led my club and also led myself in the MUN circuit for a long time. So that's the introduction.
We will simply jump on the topic that we have today. That's the origin of COVID-19, the blame game between US and China. So, sir, can you please tell us how all of this actually started?
So, Samin, today's topic is a bit interesting one and a very recent topic that the whole world is facing right now, the pandemic situation. But as this topic is between China and the USA, there's a whole different dimensions of this topic. So first, I would like to start with the very first tweet of Mr. Donald Trump, who tweeted on January 24th that he praised the proceedings of Chinese government to deal with the crisis and how they actually help the international community to fight against this pandemic. And following this, he also tweeted on February 7 on the same issue, and he also praised the Chinese government that they actually is working very hard to deal with the situation, and also praised that they are helping World Health Organization with all the information and all. So when Trump government initially they avoided the risk calculation of this pandemic within the US territory. And when United States hit badly with this pandemic and the cases started growing day by day, suddenly the Trump administration actually realized that they failed to take the precautionary measures. And also his leading team failed to ensure the safety of the citizens of the United States. So when the journalists actually pointed questions on their credibility to deal with the situation, he suddenly threw the statement that this whole crisis is led by Chinese government. And he used the term that this is a Chinese virus and they created it while they were working in one of the labs. So this was a very vague statement because when a president says something without any authentic proof, because a lot of news agencies, let's say call it DW News or the Economic Financial Express and other news agencies also reported that no intelligence or no international organization actually revealed anything authentic about authenticity of the virus from being made by China itself. And also Trump government never stated anything authentic that is quite related with the term that it is Chinese virus or China actually initially created this virus. So the statement basically came as one of the outcomes of their failure to deal with the crisis. And we can see now that US is ranked first as long as the new cases and also the death rates in the whole world. So that means that they actually wanted to divert the topic of their failure to deal with such a situation, and to blame China for who is they are thinking that they are responsible for these causes which is happening in United States. Rather, they are not claiming that it was their responsibility to take precautions and also like to ensure the safety of the citizens. Now, if I talk about the other dimension of the topic, let's say why this topic actually got attention in international community and like throughout the Western media. So we can see that even though it's not proven that China is responsible for creating this virus, but for the time being, we actually came to know that China is hiding a few lot more information, which was supposed to be there in the international community to deal with such a crisis. Because when a virus like coronavirus spreads out from an origin, it is very important for the international community to trace how it transmits and trace the actual flow of the virus so that they can actually take precautions in their own territory. There were few international news which said that the genome revelation of the coronavirus that happened in China was not sure that whether it was originated in Wuhan or any other province within the Chinese territory. So ultimately, it reveals the fact that there were few information which was not proper with out with proper transparency, and also like legit information about how this virus actually spread throughout the China and also like other international territories. So the Western media took this advantage, and also they took President Donald Trump's statement in such a way that they influenced the people who read their articles and news portals, so that they actually can think about whether China is responsible for this outbreak or not. So it's not just whether the origin of COVID-19 Wuhan or not, but they are trying to actually portray some of the misunderstanding that is being created by both China and United States regarding this blame game of COVID-19 origin.
So yes, we have seen that World Health Organization has also declared that this coronavirus is not a laboratory made, but still Donald Trump publicly stated every time that it's a Chinese virus. And I also agree with you that that United States has failed to keep the COVID-19 situation in the country stable, because till now, United States had a total of more than 2.3 million total infected COVID-19 patients, but whereas in China it's still below 1 lakh. They have like around 83,000 patients. So moving on to the next question, uh, we are also seeing that a lot of allies of USA are also supporting this anti-China thing. Like they are also claiming that this is a Chinese virus. It was made in the Wuhan laboratory. So how do you view this? Do you think any political agendas are related with it?
So that's one more important aspect of this topic that I think is very important to actually acknowledge, and also to elaborate a bit more so that we can understand the background of this statement and how it is going to affect in future days. So definitely one dimension of this topic is related to the geopolitical status between China and United States. So I was going through one of the article. One of the Canadian researchers stated in one of their statement that in previous history, if we see that two giant forces or two giant countries like United States and China, who are one of their competitors for each other. So regardless of their economic agenda, on also like their military power, China and USA is becoming their competitors for each other. So this geopolitical reason is one of the aspects for this topic being presented in such a way by the Western media as well. So if we talk about the geopolitical reasons behind this statement and anti-China statements from other countries as well, we can also see that countries like Japan, countries like Taiwan, they also claimed that this virus or this pandemic is kind of created by Chinese government, and also they are responsible for the consequences that the world is facing right now for these crisis situations. And Japan already declared that they will incentivize they will give incentives to the companies if the Japanese companies take back all their operations to Japan. And also like few Australian government officials claim that they want to actually file lawsuit against Chinese government if they're responsible for these pandemic creation of this pandemic situation and responsible to take fail they actually fail to deal with this crisis situation and let this virus transmission spread throughout the world, then China should owe a huge amount of money to the international community. So all this is because these countries like Australia, Taiwan, Japan, and who are supporting USA in this statement, and also like pointing finger on China that they are responsible for the transmission and spread of this virus, because they see that if they can actually put back China with such statement, and they can prove that there are some information that Chinese government has actually put forward, and they actually misinterpreted or misguided few of the information for the benefit of their own citizen and of their own geopolitical reasons, then these countries will get benefit of their economic aspect and also their industrial revolution that they want to bring about, where these countries actually think that China is one of their competitors as well. So whenever a lawsuit is going to take place against any country, of course the geopolitical situation will get it worse situation, and the companies who are working in the territories of that countries, being Chinese owned and Chinese dominated, those companies will face consequences as well. To mention, I can also add up that one of the states from USA, I guess it's Missouri, so they already filed a lawsuit against Chinese government about the making the statement that China is somehow actually responsible for the transmission of this virus. And also, the Republicans are bringing one of the bills in their Congress as well, which is the, I guess, it's termed as Foreign Sovereignty Act. So if they can actually bring that bill, so any private company or any private organization in United States can actually file lawsuit against China or any foreign country that they think is kind of responsible to bring crisis in the whole world. So I guess be it Australian government or USA government or any other state in the United States is filing the lawsuit against China, it is kind of a very severe situation for the whole world, regardless of whether it is going to be dealt perfectly by Chinese government or not. Because when we see that two rising powers is fighting against each other, as I stated, the Canadian professor said 12 out of 16 cases, it ended up with a war. So we can actually think of the consequences of this outcome if China and US actually go side by side, claiming each other and blame each other for the time being. So in future, we cannot actually deny the fact that 12 out of 16 times they ended up with a war, and we don't want to see a future war just because of this crisis that can be actually a natural disaster. It's not kind of man-made or anything that is created by any of the country of this world. So, of course, this geopolitical reason is one of the very important aspects of this topic.
Well, sir, amidst this blame game that's been going on among United States and China, I also saw news where it was given that the Chinese government said that if Trump has said that China has to pay for the coronavirus, then even USA has to pay for the HIV/AIDS. And so, sir, what do you think that what could ultimately happen with this blame game, with this origin of COVID-19? Will this situation worsen very much, or there could probably be a feasible solution for both of them?
Uh, this is very dangerous question and very dangerous thing as we consider the severe consequences of this blame game between US and China. Because what is happening right now in worldwide is like people from United States who are supporting United States is finding proof against China, and so that they can take action against Chinese government. And on the other hand, China is accusing false statements and also like pointing fingers on other countries, regardless of whether they are thinking to solve these crises, regardless of their own intention. So basically, if we think about the science perspective, if both of the parties focus on proving other party as a wrongdoer, there is a very there is a probability that the actual scientific information will be misleaded, because a lot of Chinese officials has deleted a lot more information which was revealed by Chinese scientists in the earlier cases of this pandemic, which was very important for the world scientific community to take lead forward to deal with such pandemic crisis. And also, as USA backed out from WHO, which was one of the huge funding source for the World Health Organization, and also their research activities worldwide, and also claimed the transparency of World Health Organization in such a condition where actually scientific research is much more important to bring vaccination and also probable futuristic healthcare management to solve this pandemic and COVID crisis in the coming days. So if this blame game continues and both of the parties actually mislead scientific community through their misleading information and also misleading statements, there is a huge risk that the scientific community will not get the proper information and also like proper way to find out the probable results to deal with such a crisis in the future days as well. As we can assume that this pandemic or crisis is not going to end in a day or a night. So it's a long fight for every country to deal with such crisis in the future days as well. So as we are looking for effective vaccines and also like looking for better healthcare management in future days, we need to take it more seriously that if this blame game continues and these two countries fight against each other, then there is a huge possibility that the scientific community will defeat it in this geopolitical clash between the two giant countries, and they will not be able to work efficiently so that we can have a proper healthcare management to deal with this crisis, and we can end up this pandemic as soon as possible and wipe out this whole COVID-19 crisis from the whole world, so that we can actually begin with a new day, with a new hope, and also boosted up economy throughout the whole world, where every country is facing difficulty with dealing with this pandemic, and also the economic crisis is going to hit upon each and every country in the world.
Well, sir, let's hope that the situation recovers soon, because it has already created a lot of havoc
Yeah,
worldwide. And that's pretty much it for the show.
yeah.
Thank you very much for joining with us. And if you have any ending remarks, you can add it.
Thank you so much, Samin, for considering me as one of the potential guests who can speak about your interesting topic, and I guess I tried my level best to put up information in a concrete way so that people who are watching this show can get a vibe about the different aspects of this topic, and they can get up to that information, which is quite important for us to know what is going exactly and what is going to be done in the near future as well. And with the hope that the researchers that said that uh, these giant countries might end up with a cold war because of their geopolitical situation. My concluding remark is, as kind of optimistic diplomats of the young generation, I would not really look forward for a war, but friendly relation between these two countries, so that we as a global citizen can get out a very good response dealing with such a crisis in the future days, and can deal with such crisis if it happens in a near future as well.